I have the honor to present the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, the Honorable John Robert Lewis.
John Robert Lewis. Congressman John Robert Lewis, you have dedicated your life to securing civil liberties, protecting human rights, and building what you call the beloved community in America. You have remained at the vanguard of progressive social movements and as a congressman for 32 years, served on many committees, including the House Ways and Means Committee, and you are the ranking member of the Subcommittee on Oversight. Your dedication to the highest ethical standards and moral principles has won you the admiration of your colleagues on both sides of the aisle in the United States Congress, and you have been called the conscience of the U.S. Congress who commands widespread respect in the chamber. As a young student, you risked your life by leading peaceful demonstrations to advance civil liberties. You became a nationally recognized leader and one of the Big Six leaders of the civil rights movement. You were the architect of and a keynote speaker at the historic March on Washington in August 1963. You exemplified the role of activism by organizing civil rights in sit-ins and participating in freedom rides, which challenged segregation in the South. And as a founder and chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, you were responsible for organizing student activism in the movement. You led over 600 peaceful, orderly protesters across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. And you were appointed by President Carter to direct more than 250,000 volunteers of ACTION, a federal volunteer agency. You have received countless honors for your civic participation, including the Lincoln Medal from the historic Ford's Theater, the Golden Plate Award from the Academy of Excellence, the Preservation Hero Award from the National Trust for Historic Preservation, the Martin Luther King Jr. Nonviolent Peace Prize. You are one of only 2 recipients of the John F. Kennedy Profile and Courage Award for Lifetime Achievement, granted by the John F. Kennedy Library Foundation. And you were granted the highest civilian honor by President Barack Obama, the Medal of Freedom. In recognition of your dedication to securing civil liberties, protecting human rights, and for your dedication to the highest ethical standards and moral principles through your civil service, all of which match CCNY's and CUNY's highest ideals. On behalf of the City College of New York, it is our very great honor to recognize you today as a great American civil rights leader and to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Congressman John Lewis, by the powers vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Congratulations.
Mr. President, members of the Board of Trustees, faculty and guests, excellent administrator and staff, unbelievable and proud parents, family, students, and friends, and to you, the class of 2019, congratulations! It is good to see my friend, my colleague from the Congress, the Honorable Charlie Rangel of New York. Mr. President, I must tell you and to all of the people here that I'm delighted and very pleased and honored to be here at City College of New York. I love this city. I love to come back and visit. My wife used to call the city of New York, the city is so nice, they name it twice. Now let me tell you, I'm just a poor child. A poor boy who grew up in rural Alabama, 50 miles from Montgomery, the son of a sharecropper. My father only finished the 6th grade. My mother only the 7th grade. I grew up with 6 brothers and 3 sisters, very poor. But in 1944, when I was 4 years old, and I do remember when I was 4. How many of you remember when you were 4? Oh, you don't remember? Well, in 1944, when I was 4 years old, my father had saved $300, and a man sold him 110 acres of land. We still own that land today. We raised a lot of peanuts, a lot of corn, a lot of hogs and cows and chickens. I didn't like the idea of working out in a farm, and my mother would say, boy, we got to work. We got to earn a living. And I fell in love with raising chickens. I know some of you like to eat chicken, but you don't know anything about raising chickens. I told a group last night that as a little boy, I wanted to be a minister. So we would gather all of our chickens together in the chicken yard. And my brothers and sisters and cousins were lined outside of the chicken yard, and I would start preaching to the chickens. And some of these chickens would bow their heads. Some of these chickens would shake their heads. They never quite said amen. But many of those chickens tended to listen to me much better than some of my colleagues listen to me today in the Congress. These are dangerous times. As one journalist in the American Revolution once said, these are the times that try our souls. We are flirting with disaster, and we will not prosper if we stay on this course. Our country needs you to be a headlight and not a tail light. We need each and every one of you to lead our nation to a better place. When I was growing up in rural Alabama and would see those signs that said white men, colored men, white women, colored women, white waiting, colored waiting, I would ask my mother, my father, my grandparents, and my great-grandparents, why? And they would say, that's the way it is. Don't get in the way. Don't get in trouble. But one day in 1955, 15 years old in the 10th grade, I heard about Rosa Parks. I heard the words of Martin Luther King Jr., and I was inspired to get in trouble, and I've been getting in good trouble ever since. I tell you as graduates, as young people, so smart and so gifted, you have a moral obligation, a mission, and a mandate to go out there and get in trouble and turn our world and our country upside down to set it right side up. Look, use education as a powerful tool, as a powerful instrument. Sometimes it seems to me like we're losing it. Sometimes I wonder, have we lost our way? Where are we going? As the leaders of the 21st century, you cannot afford to leave this campus thinking about your future alone. You must be concerned and be involved in the affairs of all humankind. Speak up. Speak out. Be bold. Be brave. And be courageous. In this crisis that we are facing in America and around the world, as Horace Mann, the great educator, once said, you should be ashamed to die before you win some victory for humanity. My philosophy is very simple. If you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, you have a moral obligation to say something, to do something. You cannot afford to be quiet. I know I'm asking a lot, but it's nothing I did not face in my own life, and it is nothing other New Yorkers have not done. Without their courage and their sacrifices, you and I might not be standing here today. During the early 60s, I met Rosa Parks. I met Martin Luther King Jr., and I got involved in the American Civil Rights Movement. You know from your own study and you know from history, at one period here in America, people of color in the heart of the Deep South could not register to vote. People were asked to count the number of bubbles in a bar of soap, the number of jelly beans in a jar. People were arrested, jailed, beaten, and some people were killed. 3 young men, 2 from this city, Andy Goodman and Mickey Schreiner, and James Sheenan from New York, from Mississippi rather, went out on a summer night of June 21st, 1964, to investigate the burning of an African-American church. The church was used for voter registration workshop. They were stopped by the sheriff, turned over to members of the Klan, where they were beaten, shot, murdered, and their bodies were discovered 6 feet later, buried under a mound of dirt. These young men gave their lives. I'm not suggesting that any of you go to Mississippi or come to Georgia, or to go to my native state of Alabama and get arrested and go to jail. But just think about it. A few short years ago, blacks and white students, black lawyers and doctors, ministers, could not be seated together on a bus, on a train traveling through the South. We changed that. We changed that. I got arrested a few times. During the 60s, arrested 40 times. And since I've been in Congress, another 5 times. And I'm probably going to get arrested again. So be brave, be bold, be courageous, and go out there and get in some good trouble, necessary trouble. This is your day. Enjoy it. Take a deep breath. A world is waiting for you. To stand up, to speak up, and to speak out. I've said on many occasions, and I say it to you, we must tell ourselves, not just in America, but around the world, that we have a right to know what is in the food we eat. We have a right to know what is in the water we drink. We have a right to know what is in the air we breathe. We must save this little planet we call Earth, not just for ourselves and our children, but for generation yet unborn. It is left up to you. You must do it. So I say to you, go in peace with much love. Never hate. For as Dr. King said, hate is too heavy a burden to bear. The better way is love. The better way is peace. The better way is the philosophy of nonviolence. Thank you very much.